Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much, Silas, for a wonderful lesson. I'm about to do revision of exponents. Okay, let me Good afternoon, everyone. I'm about to do exponents. And for that matter, we are doing the revision to exponents. And I am going to do for you or share with you, my beautiful grade 8s, 6 marks of your exam, which means that I'm giving you 10% of the 100% that you shall be writing against. Now, let's continue our lesson. What I'm going to start with first is the definition. I never want people to do something that they don't know what it means. Now, a definition, what is an exponent really say? An exponent or exponential method is a method of expressing large numbers in terms of powers. Now, we know that in mathematics, at times we can work with very big numbers. Now, we just want to express such numbers in terms of powers. Now, when you say powers, say, what do you mean? Are you talking about the power that Miss Celeste will always refer to? No, 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 no. Let's look at the components of the exponent so that when we are using the exponential language, everyone understands what we are talking about. First of all, you see that red A there. That represents what we refer to in exponents as a base. Now, whenever I'm referring to a base or whenever your educators are referring to a base, they are actually referring to that number. What is an exponent? You spoke about revision of exponent. An exponent now Some books are calling it an indice. It is actually that number that would be up there in your base. We refer to that number as an exponent. Now, the whole thing, remember I spoke about expressing a large number as a power. The whole thing is referred to as a power. Okay, I hope that you've got that one. Now let's move on. What is the meaning of an exponent? Now, a meaning of an exponent, if I write x to power n, remember that x is the base now, and that n is an exponent. What is the meaning of that? It actually means x multiplied by x multiplied by x multiplied by x. Now, if I've got n there, I'll be multiplying x by itself n times. I hope that you understand that. But now, let me make an easy example for you so that you understand what I'm talking about here. Now, my example to break this explanation down is as follows. If you have 2 to power 5, that means 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. But how many times, say? It would be 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, 5 times. Like we said there, if it is x to power n, it means x multiplied by itself n times. In this case, it means 2 multiplied by itself 5 times. Let's move on. I hope that you are with me. Remember, I'm trying to share 6 marks of the exam with you, which is 10%. We cannot throw away 10%. Now, to solve or simplify exponents, you need to know the laws of exponents. Now, law number 1 of the exponents, in words, it states that when we multiply powers with the same base, we add the exponents. When I multiply powers with the same base there, I just add the exponents. And now, what I want you to note, which is very important about n and m, which are representing the exponents, is the fact that n and m are elements of real numbers. Remember, your real number system, they can be whole numbers, they can be integers. Please remember that they can also be expressed as fractions. Now, what does law number 1 means to us? Let's see the example there. If I say to you, simplify 3 to power 3 multiplied by 3 to power 4. Remember, I have just said to you, when we multiply powers with the same base, we add exponents. That means now, because the base is 3 for both powers, it actually means 3 to power 3 plus a 4. Now, simplifying, because they said we should simplify it, that would mean 3 to power 7. And remember, 3 to power 7 tells us that we should multiply 3 by itself. How many times? 7 times. And now imagine the product that you would get there, how big the product is. And look at how beautiful it is when we express it as a power. Let's move on, my beautiful people. Law number 2 of the exponents now deals with division of powers with the same base. When I divide powers with the same base, I actually subtract the exponents. Hey man, tell me, where's that answer? It says I must hold on. Something went wrong. Can now do
Network.
Then now moving to YouTube. Okay, people, let's continue. I'm sorry about that. When we divide powers with the same base, we actually subtract the exponents. Now, let's look at the example. If I have 2 to power 7 divided by 2 to power 4, and I must simplify that, the next step, I would just take the base 2, then subtract the 2 exponents. I start with that 7 minus a 4. In simpler form, 7 minus a 4 is a 3. It means 2 to power 3. Moving on to the next law, same base raised to different exponents. Now, if you have the same base which is raised to different exponents, what you need to do is just to multiply those exponents. It would be a to power n multiplied by m. Keep in mind, m and n are elements of real numbers. Let's look at the example. The base is base 3. It is raised to exponent 2, and the power is raised again to exponent 4. We normally refer to this as a power of a power. That's beautiful. How do I simplify this now? It would be base 3, exponent 2 times 4, like the law has actually guided us to do. Now, I would multiply 2 times 4, and the product would be 8. I raise 3 to power 8. Moving on, what if I have different base raised to the same exponent? Now, in that case, be very careful. It is a to power 1 here, b to power 1. Now, going back to the previous law, law number 3, if I've got a to power 1 times b to power 1, all raised to power m, it means now I would have to multiply the exponent of base a with exponent m. That would give me a to power m. And again, go back and multiply the exponent of base b, which is 1, with m. That gives me b to power m. And now, my product simplified, it would be a to power m, b to power m. Let's look at the beautiful example, different base, 5 multiplied by 2 to power 3. When we simplify it, it means 5 to power 3 multiplied by 2 to power 3. Folks, remember that if it is 5 to power 2 there, and 2 to power 3, it would mean 5 to power 2 multiplied by 3. It was going to be 5 to power 6. If it is 2 to power 3 there, it would mean 3 times 3, which is 9. It would come out as 2 to power 9. Please note that. Moving on. Now we have just multiplied the base and raised them to a same exponent. In this case, I am going to divide different base and raise them to a same exponent. What does that mean? It only means that go to base A, multiply the exponent of base A, which is 1, by exponent m, it would give you a to power m. You go to b again, which is raised to power 1. Never forget that. You multiply m by 1, you get b to power m. Now, your whole simplified power would be a to power m divided by b to power m. Beautiful. Let's look at the example. Now I'm giving 2/3, which are raised to power 2. How do I simplify that? Look at your law there. Please follow your law. Your law says that it should be 2 to power 2 and 3 to power 2. You multiply each of the exponents by exponent 2. Moving on, we now have definitions. In other words, how many laws of exponents are we having? We have 5 all in all. Then we have definitions now. Definitions, we are going to define for you a to power 0, any number that is raised to power 0, that number is defined as 1. Be careful. Sometimes we take an expression and raise one number from that expression to power 0 and the rest are not to power 0. Be careful of that catch, my beautiful buddies. Let's take the example. Now, in this example, can you see that base A, base B, base C, base X are all raised to power 0? If you can see that, remember the definition now. Anything to power 0, the answer is just 1. Moving on. Definition number 2 now. Remember, I said N and M are elements of real numbers. And I said that elements of real numbers, it means that they can be positive, they can be negative, they can be fractions. Can you see that there? My base is raised to a negative exponent. Now, if the base is raised to a negative exponent, that actually means that we just take 1 and divide 1 by a to power n. Now, when you divide 1 by a to power n, if you take this back, I can say that, remember that 1 is just any number raised to power 0. I'll take a and raise it to power 0. I'm reversing this now. If I raise a to power 0, it means a to power 0 divided by a to power n, which is just a to power minus n. Now, moving on, 3 to power minus 2, I have to take 1 and divide it by 3 to power 2, which is positive there. Folks, please remember all the laws and the definitions of the exponents. Now, I've got a little beautiful present for you here, your quiz questions. If you can go through these quiz questions, they would make you perfect. Remember, practice makes perfect, and all the best for your final exam. I thank you very much, my beautiful learners, and hope that everything will go well in your exam. Thanks a lot.